No, I'm not saying this. US government own website says this. Libya had one of the highest standard of living in entire Africa under Gaddafi's rule. But the life of millions of people were taken only to serve one purpose, the West purpose. Gaddafi pushed for three things which was a direct threat to US petrodollar system. Number one, now you people can assess yourself if the human rights violation, the actual human rights violation was done by Bashar al-Assad before 2011 or after 2011, after the West orchestrated a rebellion. Just the boys selling drugs in the streets. The cartel is the West. Or you can say a Nobel Peace Prize winner who is now a military rule leader. And the only country which was ruled by a woman, a Muslim majority country ruled ever to be ruled by a woman. Patrice Lumumba, the first Prime Minister of Democratic Republic of Congo, democratically and legally elected, didn't play by the rules laid by the West or specifically US. Result? Rebel groups with the support of US and Belgium captured and assassinated Patrice Lumumba. No, I'm not saying this. US government own website says this. Democratic Republic of Congo was a poor nation which couldn't afford all the weapons required for top-level security to its own leader. Rebel groups easily captured and assassinated Patrice Lumumba. Saddam Hussein of Iraq, once a close ally of US or collectively the West, only because US wanted Saddam Hussein's regime to defeat Iran in the war. Once the job was done, US labeled Saddam Hussein as the ruthless dictator. And to wipe him out of power, they scripted a lie saying Iraq has weapons of mass destruction. Millions were killed in the process, irrespective if Saddam's regime killed them or rebel groups or US forces. But the life of millions of people were taken only to serve one purpose, the West purpose. Muammar Gaddafi of Libya. If there is one person who was from the beginning against the West, it was Gaddafi. Gaddafi pushed for three things which was a direct threat to US petrodollar system. Number one, unite all countries in Africa just like European Union. Number two, create gold-backed Pan-African Afro currency. Number three, sell Libyan oil in Afro currency. Result, US scripted a story saying Muammar Gaddafi is committing unprecedented human rights violation. West intervened militarily along with anti-Gaddafi National Transitional Council, captured and killed Gaddafi. Libya had one of the highest standard of living in entire Africa under Gaddafi's rule. Let me repeat that. Libya had the highest standard of living in entire African continent under Gaddafi's rule. Bashar al-Assad of Syria. Around 2009, Bashar al-Assad approved a gas pipeline that benefited Russia and rejected the pipeline proposed by America. Result? Syria was sanctioned in 2011 saying human rights violation by Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad, and the West orchestrated a rebellion to overthrow Assad in 2011, which killed 6 lakh people and 1.2 crore people, that is 12 million people were displaced in Syria. Now you people can assess yourself if the human rights violation, the actual human rights violation was done by Bashar al-Assad before 2011 or after 2011, after the West orchestrated a rebellion against Bashar al-Assad. I am not saying Saddam, Gaddafi or Bashar were all good people. They have committed unforgivable human rights violation without any doubt. But what I want to clearly tell is that all these Saddams, Gaddafis, Bashars are just the boys selling drugs in the streets. The cartel is the West. That is UK, US and 2 or 3 other European countries. Sheikh Hasina of Bangladesh. In 1960, Saint Martin Islands, which is located in Bay of Bengal, was part of East Pakistan, which is called today as Bangladesh. Saint Martin Islands was leased to US by Pakistani military dictator Ayub Khan. But since East Pakistan gained independence and became Bangladesh in 1971, this lease agreement was discontinued. During 1970s, considering the economic condition of China and India, Saint Martin Islands was not as important as it is today to US. But since 1990s, due to China and India's economic growth, Saint Martin Island becomes very crucial to US. And Sheikh Hasina, who was Prime Minister of Bangladesh from 1996 to 2000 and again from 2009 to 2024, was not helping US either. US wanted Saint Martin Islands to build a military base to counter India and China, just like US wants Ukraine to build its military base next to Russia. Sheikh Hasina didn't help to fulfill the West purpose. Result? US as usual got involved in overthrowing a legally democratically elected Sheikh Hasina from power, and military rule takes over the country. Under the leadership of America's dear friend Muhammad Yunus, or you can say a Nobel Peace Prize winner who is now a military rule leader. Nobel Peace Prize and military rule. Let that sink in. Bangladesh was the only long-standing democratic Muslim country in the entire world, and the only country which was ruled by a woman, a Muslim majority country ruled ever to be ruled by a woman. The West, which preaches everyone about democracy and human rights, was the reason for Sheikh Hasina to step down, and a military rule, a military dictatorship to take over a country, a long-standing democratic country, Bangladesh. Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso was another leader who raised his voice against West and was murdered by rebel groups. Though there is not much information from verified source about West involvement, unofficially most people quote West involvement in Sankara's death. I don't care if Thomas Sankara was a ruthless dictator or a democratic leader, but the thing that strikes to my mind every time I think about Thomas Sankara is, while Thomas Sankara was in power from 1983 to 1997, in just 4 years, the literacy rate in Burkina Faso increased from 13% to 73%. Just 4 years, 13% to 73%. Thomas Sankara banned female genital mutilation. Now, another leader aged 37 years, Ibrahim Traore, also from Burkina Faso, who is determined to free African continent from the clutches of Western colonialism, is 24/7 protected by a Russian paramilitary brigade. As I have mentioned in my other videos, Ibrahim Traore will not survive more than 90 days from the day Putin or any preceding Russian leader takes their hands off from protecting Ibrahim Traore. There are tens of other examples where West, mainly US, has conspired to remove by assassinating leaders who don't play by its rule, or invading countries, or sanctioning countries, killing hundreds of thousands or even millions of civilians in the process of fulfilling its own purpose. And now it is India. India is one country that has never invaded any other nation in its thousands of years of history, never poked its nose in any other nation's internal matters. For all the ruckus Pakistan has created in India's internal matters, till now, India has never commented anything about Balochistan. At least till now as I am speaking. I know still there are people who have a lot of complaints about India. 90% of them are with some financial benefits for blaming India. But I am not here to convince any of them. I just want to wish them all the best and long live their views about India. But this time, we have a perfect opponent to US deep state or CIA. The political battle between US deep state or CIA, collectively the West, with Narendra Modi and his followers will be legendary. Thank you very much.